Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Annisa Nurulhuda, a research student. Today, I will present about the previous work. It was related to food storage and also food quality. Okay, and this research title was Resistance of 5 Stored Rice Varieties from Banyumas region to Rice Weevil Attack. Here is the outline of today's presentation. I will begin with introduction and then materials and preparation, and also results for the experiment 1, results for experiment 2, and the conclusion. Okay. First, rice is a staple food in some countries, especially in Asia, for example, in Indonesia and also Japan. And then one of the problem in rice storage is it can be infested by insects that can reduce the quality and also can become a problem because the insect infestation can spread and damage the rice and then also make economical loss because the rice will be not able to be consumed anymore. This picture it illustrates the type of rice storage in Indonesia. The usual rice storage in Indonesia is stored in bag type, so the rice is packed in a bag and then it piled up in the warehouse. With this kind of storage, it will be easy for the contamination from if there is an insect in that warehouse, it will be easy to spread and develop and also can make a great economical loss. And it is said that more than 2 million tons per year of rice is damaged in Indonesian rice warehouse, and some of them can be contributed by this insect attack. This is the insect that attacked the rice. The name of this insect is Staphylococcus aureus of rice weevil. This is the major and primary pest, and the optimum growth condition for this insect is in the temperature between 18 to 38 degrees Celsius and in the relative humidity of 60 to 80%. That's why this is the major problem in tropical countries, for example, Indonesia. Some previous research has already stated that rice varieties differ in their resistance to rice weevil attack. So I conducted this research to see whether some particular varieties that I test gave the same result, that they perform different resistance towards the rice weevil attack. And this is the material that used for my research. There were 5 different varieties. The first is Pandan Wangi, and then in Pari 13, Situ Bagendit, IR 64, and Srikandi. The first 4 varieties normally can be found in the market, but the last one, this is Srikandi, is the local variety from Banyumas. That is not now it is not really planted in the rice field. So not many farmers plant this rice. And then before the experiment stages, the rice and insect was prepared. The rice was prepared by hulling and milling the rice, and then the insect was prepared to get 5 pairs of insects, which were 7 to 15 days old for experiment 1 for each samples, and then for experiment 2 is 25 adult insects for experiment 2. The objective of experiment 1 was to measure the insect population growth in stored hulled and milled rice. The experiment was done by infesting 5 pairs of insects in 200 grains. And then the rice and insect was infested for 7 days. After 7 days, rice and insect was separated, and then the rice was incubated until the first generation of insect born. And then after that, the number of insect was counted, and also the days was also counted. This is the result from the experiment 1. this graph shows that the total number of insects in health rice varies among 70 to 100, something between these 5 varieties. And from this graph, the Srikandi variety showed that it has the lowest number of insect population. This shows that in Srikandi varieties, it is harder for the insect to lay their egg. Therefore, the number of total insect was significantly different with others. And then this is the population growth in milled rice. The result in milled rice shows the same trend with the health rice, that this Srikandi varieties has the significantly different the number of total insects compared to the health rice. But we can see here the highest number of insects in milled rice is lower than the highest number in health rice. This could be caused by the difference of nutrition content in health rice and milled rice. As we all know that in health rice there are still iron, so that health rice contain more fat and protein compared to milled rice. Therefore, the number of insects is more compared to in the number of insects in health rice is more compared to in milled rice. And then this is the experiment set 2. If in the experiment, when in experiment 1, I measure the population growth, the trend among 5 varieties. In experiment 2, the measurement was done to see the damage in rice during storage. In set 2, the sample was 100 grams of rice. Then it was invested with 25 adult rice weevil, and then the rice and insect was storage for 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, the insect and rice was separated, and frass and percentage of dry wave loss was measured. This is the result of experiment 2. This graph shows the percentage of frass. Frass is the powder state of rice that formed because of the destroyed rice. So in this graph shows that there is no significant difference between 5 varieties of rice after storage for 6 weeks. And this graph shows the percentage of dry wave loss after 6 weeks storage. And this graphs also shows there is no significant difference between these 5 varieties after 6 weeks storage. So the conclusion of this research was, it is proven that rice varieties differ in resistance to weevil attack during storage, and then health rice is more susceptible to weevil attack. And then among the five varieties tested, Srikandi variety has the highest resistance for both whole and milled rice. And here my future interest is to measure that to make an experiment related to rapid detection of food allergen by spectrometry, but I still have to study more about this. And yeah, that's all for my presentation today. Thank you for your attention. I welcome any comments or questions.
Yes, I have a question. From your previous experiment and presentation, what's your opinion? How can solve to prevent the attack of that insect in warehouse?
I think the first thing is we have to make sure that there is no invasion of the insect to the warehouse, because even the small number of insect can reproduce and give a big loss. So at first we have to make sure that there is no insect in the warehouse. Actually, I think there are some spectrometry method for insect detection in grains, and it could be very helpful, but in Indonesia it's still not applicable. And I think in our country, the other effort that already made is they fumigate the rice, but it can increase the residue of pesticides, so yeah, it's not really recommended.
I think the warehouse is not only the source for such type of insects. Maybe there are other sources. Even rice can itself contain some egg of the larva.
Yeah.
And another point is sometimes the growth of such type of insects also depends the grain moisture content. But in your experiment, I didn't found any information and result regarding what's the percentage of moisture content of the rice grain.
Actually, I measured it, but I didn't put it because it will be very long one. But
Because
yeah,
the
I
stress, well, it
measured.
also depends on the percentage of moisture content of the grain.
Yeah, yes. As I know that we try to lower the water content and also moisture humidity, but in this storage case, usually the water content will be reduced until not will be limited until not more than 14%.
How much?
14?
14?
Yeah, because
No, this is 12%.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Other question?
Right.
So in your first experiment, you infected the rice. Do you know the rice grain age? I mean, do you know when to cultivate the age? Maybe different age of the cultivated grain of rice maybe have a different effect on the insect growth.
Actually, I don't really know the exact age, but I collected the samples from the farmers after harvesting time, so I thought the time may be different, but not very much different. Yeah. And the sample was collected in rough rice. Just from the field.
Please show me the graph from a time. I'm sorry, I couldn't follow. Why
This one.
the finally the increase of the number stop?
Oh, this one.
This one.
Because the population growth was counted only for the first generation. So for 7 days the insect will lay egg, and then only that egg. So the sieving is done every day to make sure there is no more development inside the rice.
Thank you very much.